We spend so much of our lives trying to fix our circumstances. We want a better job, fewer problems, a smoother path forward. But what if the circumstance isn't actually the problem? Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea that we all have a superpower, hidden in plain sight.
And this idea is just perfectly captured in the saying you see right here. While the world brings the weather, you choose the sails. It suggests that, yeah, we can't control the storms of life, but we have complete and total control over how we navigate them. And that's where our real power is.
So let's really dig into this superpower. See, the real game changer isn't trying to change the external world, which, let's be honest, is often impossible. The key is mastering our internal world, how we view and respond to whatever life throws at us.
So what is perspective, really? Well, think of it as the architect of your life. It's not just a point of view. It's the actual lens that shapes and constructs your entire experience of reality. Two people can face the exact same event and live in two totally different worlds, all because of this one thing.
And that ability to choose our response, to adjust our perspective, that is our ultimate superpower. Mastering it gives us this deep sense of control, no matter what's happening on the outside. Okay, but this isn't just some nice theory, right? Let's look at the proof. We're going to explore 4 incredible stories of people who used this exact superpower to transform their lives, even when they were facing impossible odds.
Our first story is about a mother who experienced the worst thing you can possibly imagine. She lost her 8-year-old son, and she was, quite understandably, just drowning in grief. How could anyone possibly find a different perspective in a situation like that?
Well, a wise person asked her a single question that just changed her entire world. They asked, imagine how much worse it would have been if you had died, leaving your young son an orphan to suffer all alone. And just like that, her focus flipped. She went from seeing only her own unbearable loss to seeing that her son had actually been spared an even greater pain.
Just think about what that shift did. It didn't erase her grief, of course not, but it transformed the tragedy into something she could endure, an act of a mother's ultimate protection. And that gave her just unimaginable strength.
Okay, our next story tests the absolute limits of the human spirit. It's about a survivor of the concentration camps, a man who spent 3 years in a place designed to break you, who lost his entire family. Faced with just unspeakable suffering, he made a conscious choice. Instead of just giving in to the horror all around him, he gave himself a why. He decided his purpose, his whole reason for living, was to survive this thing so he could one day share its profound lessons with the world. This is the very definition of looking past the fence. His focus wasn't on the barbed wire right in front of him. It was on the future purpose beyond it. And that is how he maintained a sense of inner freedom and peace, even when he was in a physical prison.
Now consider this third example. A woman who received a diagnosis that most of us would see as a death sentence, stage 4 cancer. Her reaction, though, was anything but ordinary.
So instead of seeing her diagnosis as an end, she chose to see it as get this, a divine opportunity. An opportunity to spread awareness, to help other people face their own fears, and to live with a brand new sense of purpose. It was this radical, almost unbelievable shift in perspective.
And here's the most remarkable part. The source material notes that because of this complete acceptance and this positive mindset, she is actually experiencing a quick recovery. It's a stunning testament to the deep connection between our mind and our body.
Finally, let's look at the daily battle of addiction. This story is about a man struggling with severe alcoholism, an addiction that was deeply rooted in childhood trauma. For him, sheer willpower just wasn't enough to break the cycle. So how did he quit? Well, he shifted his focus. He made a conscious decision to stop looking backward at the trauma of his past, and instead to look for positive connections in his present every single day. The battle wasn't about fighting the bottle anymore. It was about finding and fostering that connection. These 4 stories, they all lead us to this powerful central metaphor that ties everything together, the illusion of the locked door. And it forces us to ask a really crucial question about our own lives.
So the story goes like this. A legendary escape artist was challenged to break out of a supposedly inescapable jail cell. He worked for hours, sweating, struggling, using this hidden wire to pick the lock he was so sure was holding him captive. And finally, he just gave up and collapsed in defeat. The twist? The door was never locked to begin with. He could have just turned the handle and walked out at any moment.
He wasn't trapped by a steel bar or a complex lock. He was trapped by an assumption, an illusion created entirely by his own mind and his past experiences. The barrier was all internal, not external.
So, that's the takeaway for all of us, isn't it? How do we stop fighting locks that don't exist? Let's talk about how we can apply this superpower and start opening some doors in our own lives.
Here are the keys drawn directly from the stories we just heard. First, consciously change your lens. Second, focus on the good in your current situation, no matter how small it seems. Third, just like the survivor, find your why, a purpose that looks beyond your present challenges. And finally, trust that even the most difficult situations are there to elevate you.
Ultimately, the message is this simple and this profound. The moment you change your perspective, the moment you realize you're holding the handle, not picking a lock, you open the door for miracles to happen.
So I'll leave you with this question to reflect on. In your own life, with your own challenges, what door are you holding closed right now, believing with all your heart that it's locked?